Welcome to this special series of Local Focus, where we delve into the impact of a tragic event that has deeply impacted our local community. On May 28, 2024, a powerful explosion destroyed most of the first floor and severely damaged additional floors of the Realty building in the downtown district of Youngstown, Ohio. The blast caused the untimely passing of a bank employee and injured several others. The explosion has created challenges and emotional turmoil for downtown residents and businesses alike. On this special edition of Local Focus, we spoke with community business owners and leaders regarding downtown residents, specifically the residents of International Towers, located next to the Realty building. It provides income-based housing to older individuals and those with disabilities. We sat down with residents of International Towers to share their experiences on the day of the explosion, the abrupt evacuation from their homes, the inconveniences of displacement, and their heartbreak. Join us for this special series, We Are the Aftermath. The explosion. The displaced residents of International Towers share their firsthand experience of the blast on May 28, 2024.
I work at Mocha House downtown by Eastern Gateway. I had just gotten off at 2 o'clock and the incident happened at 2:40. I was sitting in my apartment by my table and all of a sudden I heard it sounded like thunder or a bomb and then the whole building shook.
And all I heard was a big boom and the whole building shook. And by the time my window was open and all I heard was, oh my God, oh my God.
And I ran to the window because I'm in the front. I'm on 11, like right in the middle. And I don't know what made me look left, but I heard my friend downstairs, oh my God, the bank blew up. I don't know what made me look right, but as soon as I looked to the right, I saw brown smoke, black smoke, and like people scattering.
And I heard something crash. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay, ain't nothing falling here, you know. So I looked out the front window. So I'm like, wow, like I seen glass, I seen the firefighters, people coming and everything. I'm like, wow, like what's going on? So I'm looking.
I got up, I was getting ready to go look out the window to see what happened, but my phone rang. Realized it was one of my friends that lived in the building. They're like, hey, come outside. There was an explosion. So I immediately grabbed my keys, ran downstairs, seeing what was happening, ran to the front, seeing what I could see. I was like, that's not supposed to be there. That's not good.
Then my dog went to the window, started barking. I seen people go to the side looking and pointing. And I went outside. You know, I was told I had to come out of the building, knocking on doors. They were knocking on doors and making sure people were evacuating.
So I ran to the elevator and then I went downstairs and I ran to the front of the building. I wasn't prepared for what I saw. I saw them carrying people out. I heard screaming. It was just a lot of chaos at the time. And my heart, like I just started crying. I was like, I felt everything that they were going through. I don't know why, but it's just, I had to focus and see, because I thought I was seeing things, but like, it was just chaos down there. And the people were, you know, all over. The fire people were all over. They had a triage set up over a double tree. That's where they were carrying the people. And then I think I may have saw them carrying out the one lady that they had to intubate in the hospital because she was wrapped up in a blanket. It was scary.
72 hours, the evacuation and displacement. You will hear how MyCap, the Mahoney-Youngstown Community Action Partnership, provided critical support to the residents during the intense evacuation. Community leaders and residents share views and experiences during the evacuation.
The first day they left was the day of the explosion. They had to be taken out the building because it wasn't safe yet. First responders were coming in and they needed to see why. We didn't know why yet. And so I believe the residents were out for 4 to 5 hours, but it was immediate. So some were out there without the things that they actually needed, and we couldn't get to them because the area itself was unsafe.
And I could tell you from the day watching them move out of that building, it was a lot of turmoil. It was a lot of suffering. It was a lot of confusion. A lot of the people, because people had to understand that building is a building for people with like needs, special needs, elderly people. So it's a specific building for specific people.
There was a bunch of us near the front of the building. Then they eventually moved us a block away. Then they moved us farther. They moved us farther to the point where we got to the Cavelli Center. We were in the Cavelli Center maybe 20, 25 minutes before they're like, oh, well, we gave you the all clear. You can now go back home. Cool. Okay. No problem.
Once they were allowed to go back into the building, it was several days before they actually told us this is unsafe. They have to be moved out of this building, have to be evacuated until we knew what the problems were. So that gave them 72 hours, and we had to start working to place 173 residents.
This was not even 9 days later that this happened. They're coming to our building, shutting our gas off. And so we asked them, why are you here? And he said, my boss told me to come here to shut your gas lines off. Okay. Not even an hour and a half later, management showed up. They walked through the door. They didn't even look at us. They didn't talk to us. No attention to any of us standing outside wondering what's going on, right? They go inside. They print up these letters.
And about 9 o'clock that evening, I got a paper sliding under my door. And I'm like, nobody's in the office. It's after hours, And it said we had 3 days to be out of our apartment. I just started packing things because I didn't know what to do, where I was going at that point. I was still just preparing myself because we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know, I'm scared.
It was one young lady we had to go in the building and get because nobody had seen her and we didn't know what was going on. So we went up to her apartment, we knocked on her door. She's in there in her wheelchair and she just, oh man, I'm about to start crying myself. She's just crying her eyes out because she doesn't want to leave her home. And I'm asking her, does she need help? Because she got to transport herself from one wheelchair into the other, but she done packed her things up and it's like, she's just like, no, I'll get it. I just don't want to leave my home.
Those folks were moved out of International Tower under the threat of imminent danger. And we've seen no imminent action in the meantime to stabilize the building so that those people could get back into their homes, those people who can get in at International Towers. And I think we really feel for them because I think it's been a tragedy that no action has been taken sooner to get them back home.
First, they're going to try to tell me that, oh, we don't have nothing for you. You might have to go to a rescue mission. I said, what in the world? I was a little, heartbroken and everything. Then I went back, and then they're like, okay, we could put you in a group home. I'm like, no, I need somewhere where I'm by myself. I have my own separate room. And she like, come back in a little bit. And I came back. They're like, okay, there's a couple other people that are feeling like I was feeling. They said, no, we're not going to a group home, and we're not going to a nursing home or a rescue mission. And that's when they're like, okay, we got a hotel for y'all.
How do you feel about going into a group home? No. Ain't been in one, ain't trying to go into one. So they're like, well, okay. That's when I found out that they were going to stick me in a hotel with a bunch of other people. I'm like, all right, cool. Hopefully I'll get stuck with people that I know. And I did.
Just a true sense of confusion and urgency. They didn't know how long they would be gone. None of us could answer that at that time, but we knew it was necessary, that they had to be gone and had to be safe. And we did the best we could with the resources that we have. So we were able to work with one of our hotel owners, and he had the space and he worked with us. We literally worked all night long, 12 o'clock in the morning, getting the last list so that they could get on that bus and be out there in their rooms and kind of roll in with room numbers and everything that morning. And so it would be as least impactful as possible because they couldn't take everything.
The heartbreak of displacement. The CEO of MyCap describes the emotional impact of the displacement on the residents of International Towers. The residents describe the heartbreak and emotional damage they are experiencing during this trying time.
We as nonprofits, it's our job to help folks when they need it, but we a lot of times can't take care of the emotional part and the feelings part of it. We just are, when it's an emergency, you just want to get them to a safe place, and we don't realize the toll that it takes on them emotionally. They're living in stressful in situations anyway, being in a big building, there's people with mental health issues, there's people with disabilities. So their lives are stressful to begin with. And then this incident happened, and everything they knew as normal doesn't exist anymore.
When I ran around that corner and I saw them carrying bodies out, didn't know if they were alive. Didn't all I can see was they were wrapped in blankets. They didn't even have stretchers. It was like blankets. And so I was like, okay, I can't look at this anymore because I kept feeling it. I felt everything that they were going through. I've had nightmares ever since that happened because I do suffer from past trauma and PTSD. But I was doing well. I was doing fine. And then that happened the day it exploded. And then so I haven't slept right since that day.
It was like I didn't want to be there, So it was devastating for me. Yeah, ripped out of everything. I know my kids be like, "Mommy, when you going home? When you going home?" Cause they, I always get them and take them to down there or whatever. But yeah, it's frustrating, and it's hard to be somewhere that you really, really don't want to be.
It's starting to get to the point now where, depending on how loud the bang is, depends on whether or not I jump. If it's a loud enough bang, 9 out of 10 times I'll jump. And I'll look around and wonder, where is it coming from? Because I felt my apartment shake. And I don't like it. I've never had that feeling. And now that I have that feeling, I'm pretty sure that's going to be with me for the rest of my life.
And people are depressed. People are angry, lashing out at other people, and for no reason, unnecessary crap. Put it to you that way. It keeps me going. That God lets me wake up every morning, and I have my dog there with me for my support. And I know I got another day on this earth. And I just pray to go home.
If somebody was to come up to me when I get back home, whenever that may be, they say, "Well, how are you doing now that you're back home?" I'm not doing too good. Am I back home? Yes. But am I doing good? No, I'm not. Because I have that fear that's going to constantly live in the back of my mind of what's going to happen next if anything happens next. Am I going to have another timeline where I have to gather what I can and get out of my house again?
Lucky for me, I have friends I communicate on a daily basis that they've been helping me get through this, this whole situation. That's what kind of motivates me to wake up and keep going every day. I do have friends that do care.
Tear it down, please. Get rid of it. Because it's a reminder of what happened. And if we want to go back, and we do want to go back, I just want to go home. We all want to go home. But we do not want to have to deal with that reminder. We're already the aftermath of the initial explosion. We're the aftermath of what happened. Yes, Realty Towers is the initial victims and survivors, right? But we didn't expect this to happen to us.
Everything that people talk about, every conversation that delays them getting back to their homes affects only them. That makes me angry. It does.
Preserving and helping people, you will learn how several nonprofits came together to support the displaced residents of International Towers.
Folks in the community have resources where we can help them. And that's why all the nonprofits have come together, because we know that as a community, we need to be responsible for these people. We need to help them. I'm in the business of preserving people, helping people, keeping them in safe environments, creating stability for people. I don't have time to think about buildings other than housing.
We thought we'd have a meeting of 20 nonprofit social service leaders. We had 60. Everybody showed up. Everybody wanted to help. Everybody had a piece. So maybe United Way was the clearinghouse, but we could have never done this alone.
We all work together and figure that out. And what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? And how fast can we do it? And it was amazing. And we work together all the time. We all go to each other's events for whatever reason it is. We all are supportive of that because we want to bring resources to the community. This time, it was no questions asked, everybody in the room, let's make it happen and work it until we can get it done.
I told our team, these people need us. This is a good United Way should be built for a crisis. You never want that. Fortunately, we had some experience with COVID, and we also were part of the situation in East Palestine. So we've been through this to try to help people in a crisis. The number one thing I said, we're going to get them to a hotel that's going to be clean, it's going to be respectable. They're not just going anywhere.
Your house, your home should be your comfort zone. You should be able to do anything you want to do there. You should be able to walk in the door and feel like the weight of the world fall off because you're safe. You don't have to worry about it. People like to be able to do what they want to do at home, not what they have to do.
How does it feel to have to depend on someone to help you? It kind of sucks sometimes because I'm grateful and I love how the community has come together for us, but I just want to do it my darn self.
And we, us, the business owners, the city administration, we have to be their voices, and we should be fighting for them too. Yes, my heart breaks for those people that are displaced right now. And they don't know when they're going to be home. I mean, just the thought of that is just awful.
I can only imagine how traumatic it is to leave your home. Your routine and everything that you depend on to keep you safe and to have you feel secure, all that's taken away from you. And if you are already dealing with some emotional issues, that only exemplifies them.
We can't cook, and the Wi-Fi, to be honest, the Wi-Fi is more important to me because we use up our data for our phones. Everybody had Wi-Fi. We don't have to, put it on, take our data off and we can still use the Wi-Fi. We can't do that where we at.
When I think about building, if that's my priority, then you got to be in a privileged position where your priority is a building and not people. I think about, okay, where can we find safe and affordable housing for these people? I can't think about an old building or a building that's 100 years old that we want to preserve. Those are all great things. I'm not saying that they aren't. We all want to preserve the history in our community. But I think the conversation now has to focus on how do we help these people?
To watch all We Are the Aftermath episodes, visit pbswesternreserve.org. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook.